northwest, Turkish and Syrian Arab proxy forces occupied that area. Extremist groups have claimed a small region to the south. Even China is reportedly trying to influence the region.
In the last month, China brokered the deal between Saudi and Iran. And while everyone was celebrating that deal, I think many of them in Washington was wondering, where is the role of the United States?
Republicans and Democrats have missed it when it comes to Syria. President Obama did say
That would be Mary. Is that, are you there?
Relax or erase the horrific acts that Assad had done to his own people.
I'll help her out and go ahead and mute.
Clear in my head. He's got to stand and be held accountable.
All right, good evening. Welcome to A Purposeful Point. I'm Ronita and I teach painting. And today we're going to be painting. This month for me is all about the beach because it's vacation. Not really, but we're going to make it a vacation. So we're all about the beach today. And we're going to be painting the super fun beach scene. And I'm going to start with my top. And guys, you know, I always like to wet I grabbed the largest paintbrush that I have. And I do like to wet my brush. It helps to move the paint better across the canvas. And I want to go over, since we just started on the YouTube feed, I want to say the colors that I'm using are blue, white. There's a little bit of green, or if you have teal in the water area. The sand area, I used raw sienna. You could also use a yellow, a deep yellow, or yellow, whichever you choose. And then of course the grass is green, and then our buds are going to be pink and green. And I did use a sponge, one of these round, nifty round sponges. I grabbed these off of Amazon, but you can also grab them at the dollar store. I believe they come like 3 to a pack with different sizes. But if you don't have this sponge, you can improvise and just use a paintbrush and and paint the circles, whichever way you wish. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm ready to dip my brush in the water. And then I touch it to the paper towel to get rid of any excess water. I don't dry it off. I just touch it there for any loose water. Okay, and I am using an 11 by 14 canvas. You can use this is a canvas board, I'm sorry, but you can pretty much use whichever works best for you. I know sometimes, and I like it too, and people ask, I always suggest getting you a like a journal notebook type thing to paint in, and you can turn the pages and watch yourself progress. I love to see that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my skyline. I have white paint on my brush. You might not be able to see it because it is the same color as the canvas. And now I'm going to put some swipes of white on there. Now I'm going to dip it in my blue. Dip my brush in my blue. I did not rinse it out or anything. Just go at it. And if it's too dark, I'll just add some white. My brush, you can see that it's not like really good coverage. So that just means I might need to wet my brush a little more and go over those areas. And then plus also for me, these canvas boards, the way they're made, they don't have a lot of, sometimes it's kind of rough texture and it's a little bit harder to get it down into the texture of the canvas. So, but this is our favorite part, ladies, is swiping. This is the time to let loose and just go for it. Add some more. I'm gonna bring it down to about right there. It's a little bit above halfway. I'm gonna add a little more white here. I didn't rinse the blue out of my brush. I dipped it in the white. So I still have the blue in my brush. So that'll help blend it. Definitely help blend it. And I kind of want mine a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna go over it a couple swipes with my white. This blends it in and just lightens it up. Just depends on how dark you want that background or how light. It's your choice. And then it just gives us more time to do more swiping. Okay. So now we're not covering a wall, so it doesn't have to be exactly completely covered, guys. So you're good here. So now you can see on my example, I have that really solid darker color. I'm going to go ahead and rinse the my brush because I don't want that white. Excuse me. I want it to be a true solid white. So I'm rinsing out the blue, the light blue, and the white out of my brush.
You want it to be a solid white or a solid blue?
No, it doesn't have to be solid. So I kind of, it's gradual where it's a little bit lighter towards the landscape, the sea line, and it gets a little bit darker as you go up the sky, actually. And I just like it like that because it gives it a really strong contrast because we're going to go really dark at this line here. So that lighter blue versus the darker blue. Or if you have a darker blue, you can use darker blue, but I'm going to use my same blue. And I'm not going to dilute it with the white to make it more solid. And it doesn't have to be a straight, solid, straight line either. Although mine looks like it's a straight line on my example. If you look closer, it's not. And then even now, I just went right across with that a dark line. And now I have my line from here. I'm gonna just use I want that to be a dark, solid line right there, but the rest of it, if it's a little bit, you know, see as you paint it, the paint is not as dark. So, and that's okay. As long as that line right there, I have it kind of dark. And you guys can look and see at your painting and see how nice that looks with that dark versus the light. So the rest of it doesn't have to be as dark. I'm just going to come on down to my water area. Start filling that in with blue. Making a mess. Splattering a little bit of blue paint. It's all right. The sand will just be darker there. But because it's still kind of wet, I'm able to wipe that right off. Okay, so I brought that down sufficient area. Now I'm going to dip it in. You can, like I said, you can grab, you have a teal, you can use that. or if you have a green. So actually what I just used, it doesn't look like it's dark enough, but let's see. You can use a green. Yeah, that suffices. I just want to add a little bit of green to the water. Just, you know, you think about beautiful scenes, the ocean. Sometimes it looks kind of a sea green. So I'm trying to do that. That's what I'm trying to do with it. So, and I'm noticing, I guess the way my light, guys, can you see how I've added the green? It's not that much green. Let me grab my green. I'm gonna actually go ahead and put green in it. And it's up to you. I'm just adding more green because it's awfully pale and I just want to mimic my example. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some regular green in there just to mimic my example. So there's darker green. The green is more prominent, I guess I should say, if I'm using the regular green paint instead of my teal. And again, that's up to you guys. How you decide to do that. And again, my line going to the beach, I'm not going to make it like, as you guys can see, it's a little bit off. It's not perfect line straight across. I just, I like that it kind of, it's not a straight line all the way across. Okay. That's a little better. It already looks just calm and relaxing. I would love to be on the beach side there. So you guys, this I have a I guess I should say I have a graduate. My oldest son, he graduated from high school. What an awesome relief. I know, right? Because
Congratulations.
thank you. You guys have been with me through some of the struggles with that one, as far as the ADHD and the issues with, I put him in private school to try to help with the ADHD, and that was a mistake. I had to put him back in public school and so on and so forth. But he's excited. He graduated on Thursday evening, 8 o'clock. He couldn't go out and celebrate much. His dad let him go out and have a quick bite with his friends, but we had to get up at 5 in the morning and be on the road by 6 to get to Lexington, Kentucky, which is an hour and 20 minutes away, because he came in third place. No, he came in first place in the regionals for a 100-meter dash. So he competed in the state competition. So we graduated. He's supposed to be done with school. We had to get up the next morning and drive down to Lexington, drive over to Lexington, and he competed in the 100-meter and the 200-meter. And both his grandparents, 80-year-old grandparents, drove down from Tennessee. Yes.
Drove up, and he came in third in the state meet.
In the state, he placed third in his heat, but he actually came overall 14 in overall for state.
But that is awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah, my third son did track, and it is very humbling. They're fast.
Yes. And it was packed. It was hot, and I was worried, a little bit concerned about my mother-in-law being 80, and my father-in-law, he sat out there in the heat as well and sat and took a nap and everything. But they did all right. You guys, we are going to start on the sand area. And again, like I said, I am using a raw sienna. You can try Congratulations, Granny and Track Me. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we can, I'm going there. Again, you can use the yellow, or you can start on the, use the yellow, or like I said, I'm using raw sienna. You can use either one, depending on what you want your beaches to be. And also remember, like, people have been to like sandy beaches and, you know, white sand and just, you know, whichever color you want your sand to be. So I'm going to kind of start at the bottom, just in case my line is still a little bit wet, and just kind of bring it up. Now, you can see it's a little bit darker here, and I did add white in different areas just to give it the sand some depth.
Get in. What's wrong? Get in.
I didn't cover the whole area with the white. I just, in some areas, I added a little bit of white just to give it some depth, a little bit dimension. Guys, usually I throw dinner on and I come down here and paint, and I yell up what the boys know when they hear the alarm go off, they know to go turn off the timer, take the food out of the oven. But I'm here by myself today, and you guys work on your sand. I'll give me 1 minute. All right. You can go ahead and bring that up to your line. Just be careful. I'm painting horizontally, so that I won't bring my blue down into my sand. It's okay that if it gets in it, but not to bring it on down into the sand. So. Adding a little bit of white to the shoreline, a little bit, because I want it to look kind of like some crashing waves a little bit. So I won't get too detailed. I'll do a little bit of detail later with that shoreline. Just go ahead and let that dry. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my green paint. I should already have some green paint, but grab my green paint, get that on my palette. While we let the sand dry a little bit, we're getting ready to work on our, and I titled this, what did I title this? I can't remember what I titled it, but I did look it up to see what kind of flowers grow on the beach. And that's what it came up with. I saw something that was similar to that. I had already painted this, but then I needed to title it. So I went and kind of Googled flowers that grow on the beach, and that was one of them. And so that's what I named this this painting. See Thrift Blooms, because that's what, yeah, perfect. there it is. Okay. So I do have, now my green, I do have, it looks like two shades. There's a darker green and a lighter green. What you can do is just take your regular green and use it. And then if you want to lighten a lighter green, you can add a little bit of white for a second shade of green. And it doesn't have to be a big difference. It's just, again, we're just giving it some depth, just giving it depth. Okay. And now, especially the main thing with the green, and even if my area is still a little bit of wet, it's okay, because we're going to just kind of be swiping. I'm going to swipe upward to give it that that look of like blades of grass. So up. So even though my things may not be dry, as long as I'm not painting horizontally, like changing it like that way, then if it is still wet, it would be noticeable. But for me to just take my brush and just swipe up, it doesn't change. Even though my paint is still wet, it doesn't smear it, because we want it to just look like that. Guys, trying to say it, make it make sense the way I'm explaining it. And I am bringing it up a little bit higher on this painting. After I did it, I was like, because I had so much open space on the other side, I was like, I really should have moved the blooms over more onto I want it off to the side, but I'm moving it over just a little bit, bringing it more, I'm just making it more full, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And they don't have to be separate. They're gonna start to overlap my blades. So it's okay. So I just have the one color that I am working on right now. And now you can take and add a little bit of green, a little bit of white, or if you have a darker green, another shade of green, either way. And now go in on top with those. We're just giving a little bit of depth, and it's okay if you're on top of one or the other. On the top of one of the other blades. Because again, they don't have to be separated or spaced out or anything, but it kind of looks kind of spacey, but I'm just swiping up. You can, if it works better for you to swipe down, you can do that as well. Okay. Put a couple of shorter ones down at the bottom and off to the side to give it, so it's not, so you guys know, I don't want any uniformity. We are mimicking nature. Although we are painting abstract, we are mimicking nature. Nature is not exact. So I don't want all of when you're swiping up, make sure that your blades are not evenly all the way across. And actually with mine, it's kind of at an angle, but this one I didn't angle so much. but we probably could bring some more at the top up a little bit if I wanted to. But again, I don't want you guys to have them that they're the same all the way across, okay? I want some variations in there, guys. Some short ones, some long ones. Give me some variations. And so actually, to me, this is the awesome picture as is. That's super cute. But after I finish that, it's not gonna be completely dry again, even when we go to add on our blooms, it's not gonna be completely dry. But for right now, I'm gonna give it a chance to dry a little bit. I'm gonna go over, like I talked about, I'm gonna show you how I added a little bit of white. And that's optional, guys. It's optional if you want to do that. I just added a little bit of white to the edge, the shoreline, where the water meets the sand. And it's not going to be a really thick, heavy layer. So I dip my brush in my white, and I don't want a lot on there because I want to start out. We always want to start out at a minimal. And then if we need to get heavier, then we can go that way. So I want to start out minimal. I dip my brush in my palette, in the paint on my palette, and then I'm going to wipe it off on the side of the palette so that I do have white paint on my brush, but it's just a minimal amount. And I want to see what it looks like and then go from there, whether or not I want to make it heavier. Okay. So you guys can see I'm just little short strokes, just right there on the shoreline between where the water meets. And I can bring it down a little bit so it doesn't look like just a stark white line across. I blend it down a little bit. So I do want a little more. So I'm going to dip in my paint again, and I'm going to wipe it on the side and then kind of dab it in there. Give it a nice little choppy look. I want it to be a little choppy look. And you can, if you like, bring some of that choppiness into the water. So that's kind of fun. Bring it up into the water. And I'm just kind of dabbing, blending. Again, my paint is not real heavy on my brush. It's just a light bit of paint, just a little. You can see that it's not very much on there because I want it thinner. Hey, let me see. I'm trying to see how dry mine is. Yeah, it's still pretty wet, but what I'm gonna do, because I'm painting with my sponge, again, we're just gonna dab the paint on there, and the paint's gonna be a little bit heavy and it won't be dry, but the paint, the blooms that we're gonna make, that paint might be kind of heavy with the sponge, and it might not be dry yet, even when we're finished, but it'll dry and it's okay for it to be a little bit heavy. So the tray I use, guys, you guys know, it's like I use it over and over again. So it's kind of lumpy, but I would suggest using something kind of flat, so that if you're using the sponge, you want to use something flat so that the sponge, so it's covered evenly. If I had a tray that didn't have any paint on it and I just dipped the paint in there, then it would be flat for me. So what I did was taking my pink paint, putting it on my tray. I already have white, but I'm grabbing pink, or you don't even, if you want to use, you want pink blooms, that's fine. If you want a different color. I can't remember if there was what other color flowers it came in. Oh, it looks pink. They look pink. So either a darker pink or a lighter pink. But it's still, it's abstract. It's your choice if you want to make it a different color. So now I'm gonna take my,
I like your earrings, Renita, that go with your picture, your pink earrings.
thank you. So now I'm gonna dip half my sponge in white and half in white and half in pink. Look, I dipped it in pink and I said white, so it threw me off. So you can see I have it like that. And then I'm gonna put it in, I'm not trying to put it like at the top of the tips or anything, because that's not how it's just kind of in there. So I press it down on there and I do twist it just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. And then I do a couple of them because I'm okay. You can see that all of them are not solid. And I don't have any particular order. I'm going to kind of spread them out, just twisting them a little bit. Sometimes they fill out, sometimes they don't. And you guys, if you are using a brush, I'm going to dip half my brush in pink and half in white. And again, this is kind of heavy. So, and then I'm going to make a circle, and I'm going to kind of twist my brush a little bit to make that circle. Okay. I see that it looks almost identical. Just the way I use the brush to twist the brush a little bit. I'm still using the same sponge. I have not re-dipped it or anything because the I wanted to, the blooms, they look pretty thick and solid. I wanted them to be kind of, I didn't want them to be solid. So I'm just kind of putting some that are not totally solid on there just to make it a little bit different. I'm dipping it in now, but you really don't have to put a lot on there. And I'm just kind of dabbing. Now I'm just dabbing and twisting as I dab. Does that look like enough? And let's not get carried away. I really want to put a bunch on there, but I'm trying to control myself. And then I'm trying to step back and look to see if I have them spaced out. Let me get up and step back. Okay, I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased with mine. Now the blooms don't have to be perfect, guys. Loosen up and just kind of play with them, throw them on there. Just kind of scatter. kind of a scattered look, because you think about the ocean breeze kind of blowing everything over, so they're not going to be exact and cute and pretty all the time.
How far over are your plants? Are they over half the picture? Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably about half. So I did
Okay.
bring some. Yeah. I bought them halfway, and then I do have some that came over into the second half. Again, it was, like I said, the first one, I was like, hey, I should have bought it over further. So that's why this one, I didn't center it, but I did bring it over some more. All right, how are your blooms looking, ladies? Mine's look like more the center. All right. Look like mine's, I left like a ring in the middle. I covered those up. All right, ladies. I'm gonna go ahead and just a second, we'll start looking. We'll do show and tell, but I want to go ahead and end on YouTube and say thank you, YouTube, for painting with me. And stay tuned for the next painting. Oh, nope, that was the wrong button. All right, I hit end meeting.